Alright, in this video, it's just going to be a quick introduction of proportions, rates, and percents. And really, proportions and percents just show, just like fractions, parts of a whole. So if you have a proportion of, let's say, 2 cats out of 5 animals. Let's say you have some dogs in there too, but 2 out of 5 of the animals are cats. This just shows that out of if you were to pick randomly 5 animals, 2 would be cats. Now, if you were to say have maybe 20 animals, then if the proportions were the same, for every 5 animals there were 2 cats. If you had 20 animals, we would suspect that there would be 8 cats. Those would be equal proportions. And we'll explain how to get that if you're not sure how to get that later, but that's just showing a proportion and comparing usually 2 items together. Now, percents work the same way. Percents means out of per cent out of 100. So if you had, for example, 2/5, if you were to put that into a percentage, that would be 40 over 100, or 40%. And so again, we would know that the ratio of cats, or the proportion of cats to animals, would be 2 to 5. If there were 20 animals, we would suspect that 8 of those would be cats, and the percentage of cats out of the total animals would be 40. That's just a silly example, but you can get the idea. Now, a rate is a little different. A rate is unique in that you're comparing 2 different units of measure. So some common rates that you'll hear is, for example, measuring speed will be miles per hour. And so if you had, if you're going 40 miles for 1 hour, that would be a rate of speed. Usually we write that like this: 40 miles per hour, or sometimes it's mph. You guys have seen that before. Same thing with kilometers per hour. But here you can see that you're not comparing miles to miles. I go hiking 20 miles, somebody else goes hiking 30 miles. That's going to still be a proportion of how much did I hike to how much did somebody else hike. But this is a rate compares 2 different units of measure: feet per second, liters per, gallons per minute. Oftentimes it has to do with time, not always. But anyway, rates. Your heart rate is beats per minute. Rates often have to do with, or rates really have to do with, it's like a ratio, but you're comparing 2 different units of measurement. So that's just a very brief introduction. Again, proportion, rates, and percents, they all kind of fall under the same, or they're very similar in many ways, and oftentimes you can convert between percents to proportions and then include it. I didn't write that in there, but also ratios, and a lot of this deals with fractions as well. And so we'll get into all that later as you study through the unit, but that's just a quick introduction for now. See you later.